Had another bout of impulsive buying? Didn't really need a new phone, but suddenly bought the latest one? Do you ever wonder why you prefer a certain brand of peanut butter over the other? Well, we mostly think that these purchasing choices we make aren't based much on rationality. Sure, we just prefer some things over the other, just because our personal preferences and taste. However, there are actually logical factors that make us buy some things and just pass up the others. In this book, we look into what goes on in our brains and how marketers make us open our wallets. Through knowing these tips, we'll find out how these sellers get us to buy their products. Here are the top 7 lessons from Biology by Martin Lindstrom. Lesson 1. Feel happier. In the year 1992, a scientist named Giacomo Rizzolatti found that a type of monkey called macaques' premotor neurons lit up whenever it or another macaque got a nut. This type of reaction happens because of mirror neurons, and us humans have them too. Basically, these mirror neurons in our brain feel the same stimulation whether we're doing something or we just see someone else do it. This is where advertisements come in and make the most of our mirror neurons. Whenever we see those happy people fitting their new shoes on commercials, they're happy for a reason, and that's to make us feel happy too. Mirror neurons also work hand in hand with dopamine, the pleasure hormone. That's why we always feel good after our shopping sprees and retail therapy. Lesson 2. Take shortcuts. Let's say you were grocery shopping and were at the bread aisle. For some reason, you didn't hesitate to pick up the loaf of your choice, yes? Almost as if you can't find the logic behind it. However, there is a neurological reason behind this type of action, and it's because of our somatic markers. In a nutshell, these somatic markers are like shortcuts that spur us into making automatic decisions. Since our brain has to process so much information, thoughts, and opinions, these somatic markers make everything easier and cut the process. They also help advertisers make links between their products and other things like childhood memories and such, so that we're more likely to buy their products. For example, a struggling bank was convinced to paint its entirety pink to try and save itself. After a few months, the business was up and running and even thriving. When asked about why the clients chose the bank, they answered that it was because their pink color reminded them of their piggy banks. Lesson 3. Get scared. Another way advertisers try to get into our psyche and buy their products is to scare us. Some marketing methods try to utilize negative feelings to get people to purchase more, and this actually works. In many instances, fear is a very good marketing strategy. Since people are scared of dying alone, they're more likely to buy a specific type of lingerie or perfume to make themselves more marketable to the gender of their choice. Some commercials would even show if and then scenarios to scare the general public into choosing them. Then presidential candidate Lyndon B. Johnson had a commercial where a child plays with daisies when a nuclear explosion went off behind her. The feeling given by the commercial was to choose Johnson or die in a nuclear war. Banking on people's fears in advertisements may be quite effective, since Johnson won that election. Lesson 4. Hear subliminal messages. Although using subliminal messages in advertisements has been prohibited by the National Association of Broadcasters, there are still different ways these are being used. But before we get into that, what are subliminal messages? In essence, these are messages that consist of anything that may subconsciously lure someone into purchasing the product. An example is when car dealers urge us to test out the newest automobile, and we get a whiff of the new car smell. Another example is when the owner of one of the biggest tobacco brands pays money to have their color schemes, designs, and even logo on ashtrays and other things. Lesson 5. Crave health warnings. We'd think that health warnings put on liquor, cigarettes, and fireworks would be off-putting enough for people not to buy them. Despite the horrendous warnings and scary images put on cigarette packets, billions of cigarettes are still bought daily across the globe. In an experiment, participants were shown cigarette warning labels and were then asked to label how much they were craving a smoke. After checking the brain scans of participants, the warnings did not even dampen their cravings. In fact, the same study found that these types of warnings really arouse the brain's craving spot. So instead of discouraging the smoking habit, these health disclaimers are actually enhancing them. Lesson 6. Build loyalty. Another reason why we choose other brands over the other is because they have built in us a huge following, almost like a religion. These brands have even caused debates and rifts among people who like and dislike them. For example, some people prefer a certain soda drink over the other. Many also would choose a kind of user interface on a phone rather than the other, just because they've become firm believers that this phone manufacturer makes the best units. For other brands, it's not the actual product, but the ritual that comes with it. Some would prefer to dunk cookies in a glass of milk. Others would prefer to twist the top off and lick the filling. These rituals and followings established by brands have made a huge contribution to their sales. So the next time you debate with a friend about how to eat a wafer, just remember that that's a marketing ploy. Lesson 7. Don't sell sex. Contrary to popular belief, sex doesn't actually sell. Commercials filled with sexual references is a marketing method that's been around for so long. But is it really effective? It's actually not. In a study where people watched 2 different advertisement breaks, one sexual and the other not, the participants were able to recall the non-sexual advertisement's product better. This is because sexual content in commercials hazes the viewer's eyesight and actually turns their attention away from the real products. However, why is this type of advertising still being used? Marketers apply this method because of the controversy that surrounds it. These types of campaigns stir the people and make them talk. Although some may condemn and shame a company for using content like this, the aim is to gain publicity. Bad publicity is still publicity. In conclusion, this book shows us that we don't impulsively buy things because of nothing. We're urged to choose certain products and go on shopping sprees due to what our brain processes. When we're at the store and we unconsciously choose a specific brand's canned tuna, it's good to remind ourselves that it's our brains making all the work easier for us. As humans, we see a lot of prompts and advertisements to get us to buy things. But with the help of this book, we can become more aware and be smart shoppers. How about you? What was your smartest buy? Tell me in the comments section. Thank you for listening. If you like the book summary and you want to see more in this category, please like and subscribe so I can create more. You can also get a free copy of the entire audiobook by clicking the link in the description. Until next time.